if you got more than,
20 minutes. Oh, yeah. All right, well, let's roll.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Jay Niblick here. And, of course, as always, we've got Bryan Arzani, president of Innermetrix North America. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, and welcome back. Getting ready for Christmas holidays. You almost ready over there, Bryan?
You know what, man? I am I'm excited. Yeah, got family coming back in, ready to rock and roll. About you, you the same way, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I am starting the timer because on the 20 to profitability that we talk about here on our weekly podcasts, we give you 20 minutes. And it's because if you got an hour to listen to a podcast on why you're not making enough money, that's your damn problem. Because you got an hour. 20 minutes is a stretch. Otherwise, just you need to be out selling. So we give ourselves 20 minutes so you guys have more time. Speaking of time, trading time for money is kind of the topic today, and we'll be talking about something that's very proprietary to us, the short name, the DTS model. Do it, teach it, support it. It's in the Profitable Consultant. It's a core to what we teach everybody here at Innermetrix, and we're going to share it with you because we're following up on the last discussion around trading time for money and increasing your value proposition and thinking more of a value-based pricing model than hourly. I'm going to just do this for you. And even if you put in value pricing, oftentimes you can still get stuck trading time for money, which is the killer of profits. And Bryan, you speak into it. I don't know as a consultant any other item that will kill or limit your profits, especially for those that are out there doing okay, maybe doing well, but you hit that ceiling and you're like, damn it, why can't I get more profits? 99% sure the reason you're not is because you've built a model that has you trading your time for their money. So
Yeah.
Bryan?
It's funny because a lot of us, we're working for somebody else, whether it's in a Fortune 100 or 500 or whatever, and we're saying, you know what, man, if I could just do it my own way, man, I do it the right way or whatever. And then what ends up happening is we accidentally end up out in this solopreneurship world, or we're out in this world of, being an independent consultant. And we start to say to ourselves, now I'm in control and I'm going to do it right because I don't have somebody looking up above me, managing my time and telling me I'm spending too much time. And we become our own worst enemy. I mean, it kind of becomes that thing of we go towards what we desire most, which is how to do it the most perfect way. And if the most perfect way is the old adage of it, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. That does become a very dangerous, slippery slope. And you've helped me a lot over the years, Jay, in terms of just the old question of, are you working in it or on it? Is it dependent upon your, if it's you and if it's only you, not that we're going to throw the keys and sell this thing, but if you don't have any way to generate something bigger than you, then you're really in that model of trading time for money. And that's a race to ultimately zero.
Oh, you and I just saw this last week. And obviously, there's always anonymity with us. But group came over, coaching company, growing, trying to get bigger. The woman I was talking to was trying to figure out how to extricate the founder of the coaching organization because he was just so busy back to back to back. They couldn't scale. And scale was the word that was continually used. And I said, well, let's get on the phone with this gentleman and talk, what does he want to do? And he said, she said, you'll never get on the phone with him. He's booked 6 days a week. He's so busy that maybe on a Sunday. And I said, well, tell you what, when he's deciding that he wants to actually get his business to get past the block that it's at now, let me know. And I pretty much left it at that because this guy is trading time for money. So let's go back and why is that the case? We're all taught in sales and business school, that you want to create demand for a supply. And there's hours and hours, there's sessions and courses and Harvard Business and Wharton and all this stuff on creating demand for your supply and all of the variable economic aspects of it. So if I can create a limited supply, the more limited the supply, the better because I can charge more for it, the greater the demand, the old sayings, you'd see all these old sales guys, you want to be the blood bank in a natural disaster or something like that. It's a horrible thought, but the same kind of approach. We want to create the demand for the supply. That's awesome when I'm manufacturing friggin' widgets and I can order 30,000 more, or I have the funds to order 1 million to be manufactured or made, or it's software or technology that can scale infinitely because it's electrons. I love the idea, and it makes perfect sense. Create more demand and then offer supply the product. Here's what we don't realize. You're the product. When you, the consultant or coach, are the product, this mentality will screw you from serious profitability. Now, you may get out there and do well. Like I said, you may get up there and start getting business, and you might think this is the be all of end all things, because whatever, end all of be all, because I'm 6 days a week, people. I'm waking up and I'm scheduled from 7 in the morning till 7 at night, and boom, I'm knocking it out. Well, you're the product. So this philosophy of create demand for you fails at this
it's kind
level.
of like what you talk about in the book, the profitable consultant. It's so amazing. I mean, every single consultant we talk to that reads that book says, dude, you talk to me, you know me. It's this, we hit this, we're going to sell. We're going to get in, we're going to deliver. And then we're in there and we're getting the $200 an hour or the $150 an hour or $300 an hour, whatever. And then the contract comes off, and then we hit these, and it's just this endless row of the peaks and the valleys. And that's exactly the people who are not applying the DTS model and what we teach, eat, breathe, sleep, poop, pee here at Innermetrix. It's what we do.
We know this. I mean, this is experience talking. I've been doing this for 19 years. I started the company in 1999. I was really operating in 98, built it up, nice 6 figures, crashed, because it wasn't sustainable. Built it up again. I mean, I've tried being on stage in front of thousands of people. I've shared it with Tony Robbins, Michael Gerber, talking. I was a little bit trashing about the E-Myth because we got into an argument about, his attitude was just, there's only one kind of entrepreneur, and if you're not it, then just go back to work and get a job. We know this works with 1,000, 1,500 or so consultants around the world failing, finding the way to do it, and then figuring it out, And so they're telling us what works. We're seeing this. This isn't just pie in the sky theory. You and I have started it, and Jennifer and everyone else we know, Alan, all the guys. These master distributors have gone out, fallen flat on their face, and said, shit, that didn't work. So here's what it took so long, because everybody kept chasing to create the demand for the supply. But nobody ever says what's different about us as consultants is, and we got to get into the topic here because we got 11 minutes, but that's fine because the rest of it's in the book. This is the big break, though. You got to break away from your idea that create demand for you. And that sounds really stupid to say, but create demand for you, because what happens is you will never break that ceiling. Whatever.
Well, and here's the it's a great segue, Jay. So what you're saying is create a demand for me, and then have the organization or the system that allows them to still have access to me, but to apply some of the skill sets that I bring to the table. And then I could create little, I call them mini-me's, right? I mean, if they demand me and they want me, and then here's the real question. Here's the powerful question I've learned to ask. When they say, because every consultant gets this, you're good when this happens. And they say, you know what, we should just hire you. If you hear that, God bless America, because you got a great client. But the moment you hear we should just hire you, resist the temptation to run towards the safety, security, the benefits, all those things that bring vacation time. Holy shit, what would be a vacation paid? Woo, right? But what I'm talking about here is resist it, because here's what we teach. We teach people the moment you hear that, the moment you hear we should just hire you, we look at, here's what we teach them to say. Look at them and go, you know what? It's a great idea. Would you like to know how? And they go, what do you mean? Well, what we need to do is we need to identify a couple of key people within your organization that are good enough, capable enough that we've been able to assess and look at, that have the common sense, the horsepower to be able to be instructed so that we can teach them, right, how to do what it is that we do that's magical, and then use our platform so at the point of incident, you're able to apply the instrumentation, the psychology, the application tactics, so that they view me as this executive, overreaching individual that all things people, I get to have a conversation with them about, but then I'm supporting the support staff.
Well, let's dissect that quickly for a second, because you touched on all three. DTS, do it, teach it, support it.
Thank
the
you.
Philosophical break you have to make is the end of the road is not creating dependence and demand for you. That's the beginning of the road. Once because that's it. People go, create demand for me. But that's it. It's the last page in the freaking book. And that's the problem. People assume it stops there. I've created it. I need to create more demand for me and more demand for me. You're going to run out of time. You're going to
I worked in firms like that.
If you're profitable, if you're successful, you're going to be stuck at a level. So you either increase your salary, you say, I'm going to charge you 2 or 3 times as much. That can happen, but there's a limit as to how much you can charge. So instead, the DTS model is do it. So they see, wow, Brian, Jay, Jennifer, Mark, everybody, this is awesome. I love this. Get to the attitude of, can we hire you? And if somebody says, can you hire me? The answer is no, but I'll sell you my knowledge. I'll transfer my knowledge to you. And this is so counter freaking intuitive because people are like, wait, you wanted me to create demand for me, the expert in sales or training or team building or strategic planning or coaching or whatever. And now you want me to just sell it to them. They won't need me anymore. Well, you would be correct if there wasn't the S, and that's supported with profiles. This is where Innermetrix is unique. Everything we're doing with individuals revolves around these profiles. I can help you hire better using personality assessments. I can involve the team building assessment. I can be using this for coaching. I can understand. So you loved it. You want me to do it. Why don't you get together some people in the organization like Brian described? I will transfer my knowledge to them. They're already employees. You're already paying them. Why don't you utilize and maximize their benefit to the organization? 10 grand, 20 grand, 5 grand, I don't care, whatever, transfer them, go in, train them on the profiles, train them how to interpret the profiles, train them how to read them and use them in team building, whatever you've been delivering, create a bunch of mini-me's, love that. And the idea is, as you're still going, but now they don't need me anymore. No, now they're going to need, you've created dependence on something other than you. You've created dependence on the product, the profiles, that you can scale. And then you start stacking. The DTS model, we talk about stacking. So you go out, it's a machine. Find somebody, love what you do. They get addicted to it. They're like, we need more of this. So, well, you can keep paying me a lot, or why don't you just let me teach the DTS, do it, get them addicted, teach them how to do it, and then support them. So the profit margin on that's a little thinner, obviously. They're paying you a monthly retainer to get access to unlimited personality assessments. And your methodology as well. Cool. All right, but say that's only $1,000 a month or $500 a month. You can stack those because then you go get the next client to do it and the next client to do it. And soon, imagine you've got 10 or 20 clients. You've taught all of their individuals how to do this shit, and they're paying you monthly $500 to $1,000 to $5,000 a month. Depends on the size of the company and how many profiles they use. We've seen it. I've got one right now that's $8,333 a month. So, it's possible to stack those up. And then you go to the beach, and the employees are continuing to work using your resources, and it's more of a passive residual income stream, but you're not limited.
We call it the long X. The amount of time and involvement up front is high, and the value will increase, and the value should continue to increase as your involvement goes down. Why? Because you've done it, you've modeled the behavior, you've instructed, and now you support it. And the support requires you as the consultant to get better. If I'm out there, I've got to continually get better and go, man, what are the trends in succession planning? How do we do emerging leader identification? How do we teach them more ways to use our instruments in ways that add value in their organization? Because if you're only doing one thing like recruitment or development, dude, you're a one fiddle band and eventually you're going to run out. We have got so many different ways to apply our platform of profiles. It's not the acquisition of profiles, it's the application that transitions into information and profits. And so that client that's investing, and I always use the word investment, they invest the $5,000 a month, they should be getting $25,000 to $40,000 a month of value off of that $5,000 a month investment. Now,
listen, what you're doing is, we in training, we'll talk sometimes about the T's instead of teaching it as transfer.
Exactly.
So get them used to you, get them addicted to you, create this demand. Nothing wrong with that. The T, do it, transfer it, support it, is transferring their demand to something that is scalable, to something that's not trading your time for money. Because if I'm not in there, then I'm not making money. And I want to be able to go out and make more sales while I'm still making money on the flywheel that I got spinning. So transfer it over. Medicine's figured this out a long time ago. Anesthesiologists versus registered nurse anesthetists. You'll go into an operating room, and I spent years there at Johnson & Johnson. at Mayo Clinic, Duke University, you walk in and there's 5, 6, 7 nurse anesthetists. Now these are masters. They're making $100,000 plus a year, 150, good money, but they're masters with RN degrees, and there's one anesthesiologist. And so the same mentality applies here. You may need to punctuate your interaction with these organizations time to time, diving in for the deep things, or they're calling with a big question they haven't run into before, or you're working with an executive group. You're not leaving the company and going bye-bye. We saw that guy 2 years ago. Remember, he came back and said, I just lost a $97,000 contract. You know, they've been doing it for 3 years in a row now. And I said, well, why? And he goes, I don't know. I haven't talked to him in 11 months. I was like, well, gee, you know, I don't need to ask the question then. So you don't ever just walk away and leave them, but they're generating the demand on something that you've created in-house. So you're just supporting it. Yes, it's a lower margin, but you stack 20 of those up, which is definitely doable. And, you know, you got $15,000, $20,000, $50,000 a month rolling in the door while you're out finding more. Yeah. That's scalable. Transfer the demand for something that is infinitely scalable. And you are not, unless you want to die at an early age and kill yourself and be working 6 days a week.
I've seen those guys, man, those women out there that, you know, they say, when I first got in this, they said, man, if you can have 100 paid training days a year, you have arrived. And I remember thinking to myself, that was the vision I got back in 2001, going, man, how do I get 100 paid days a year? And then I did it. And I'm like, this sucks. I mean, so what? You can make, you know, let's say you make 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 a day. If that's your only goal is to get that many days a year of paid training, I don't do it anymore. That's why I can't even say it. I can't stand it. Dude, I'd rather than having, you know, 5 clients that invest, you know, $200,000 a year, wouldn't it be cool, every one of you out there, wouldn't it be cool for you to have, let's say 20 clients that are investing on average $3,500 a month? To have access to your ability to support and transfer that knowledge to their people so that anything as it relates to talent, they have that immediate, at a point of incident, the ability to execute. And
they're paying for that unlimited account that gives them unlimited profile access for the Innermetrix profiles, and they can go in and order whatever they need because you taught them. I mean, it's beautiful. They're paying you $10,000 or $20,000 to come teach their people how to be addicted to a product they have to buy from you.
And this is the coolest thing. It's awesome. In the world. It's the most healthy addiction in the world because you're treating people and you're empowering these new millennials to ask them the most powerful question you can ask a millennial is, what is the dream in your heart and how are you going to get there, right? Because then you give them this data, this deep, rich, real data about themselves. And then as they follow the what's your genius processes to kind of co-author their path, you don't have to ignore or complain about millennials. Our consultants don't have clients that complain about millennials. We have consultants that go out there and empower and embrace millennials to unleash what they've got. It's crazy, but it's the do it, transfer, train, and support.
And it's an absolute mind shift. I mean, it really is a paradigm shift, as beat up and used as that cliche has been. Most cliches are one for a reason, because they're popular, because they're true. In the beginning, this is not a topic for like the guy who's getting ready to quit his job tomorrow and go out necessarily. I think if you can in the beginning, great, but you're going to have to first build that supply on you. But don't make that the last page in your book. You know, wrapping it up, and I'll let you have the last minute here. Wrapping it up, don't make that the last page, okay? Go out and create demand for you and what you offer. But don't then stop and go, okay, well, now I got to stack another guy and another client and another company and another organization. And at some point find, you know, I'm super successful. We see coaches. Coaches are so limited in this because let's say they're doing 45 minutes 3 times a month, right? And 4 days a week. A lot of good coaches I know take Friday off for marketing, paperwork, all this other stuff, because from first thing in the morning to last thing in the day, they're on the phone call, talking to their executive, doing executive coaching for 45 minutes. They got 10 to 15 minutes to get prepped for the next one, to look back in the file and say, what the hell did I talk to Mary about last week? You know, and day after day after day, they can only handle maybe 30 or 40 clients at a time in a given month. Let's say 50, and they're going crazy. Figure out how to get people interested in what you have to offer. And then the big shift, consider learning how to teach them how to do it themselves. But you can't do that if it's a one-time transfer of knowledge and they can go off and reproduce it unlimited. You can't give them a Word doc that they can copy and use all day long themselves. They don't then need you anymore. That's DT, which there the T would be terminate, like you're done. Create dependence on something, the profiles that we give you, the Innermetrix assessments, let them learn how they can use those themselves. And that support curve drops down to where it's very quick in the first 2-3 months. You're talking to them once a month,
right?
Unless that weird need comes up. So, Bryan, wrap it up.
Hey, you know what? I think we've done a great job of bridging this gap between exchanging money for time. We've now given you a couple of ideas on how to take the platform of instruments and make it happen. But you know what? Here's the beautiful thing about it. 20 minutes is up. It's time to do what, Jay?
Go sell some shit.
Go sell some shit.